warning, this review contains very personal opinions that are mine. Hello, welcome back to the turquoise walls of my childhood bedroom. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you don't know or can't remember, my name's Kelly, and today you're here, I hope, for the second installment of my new series of reviews that I am putting out about my alphabet soup reading and reviewing challenge. I'm adding reviewing onto that because let's be real, the reviews are the more difficult part. The reading, that's the easy stuff. What was I thinking? Today I'm going to be going over my review for the book that I read for the letter B. Yes, B. I am on my second out of 26. I feel like I'm making progress, but I don't know how much progress I'm making, but whatever. The book that I read for B was Beautiful Broken Girls by Kim Savage. To preface this review, I would like to thank NetGalley and Farrar, Strauss, and Giraud for providing me with this galley in exchange for an honest and open review. The opinions that are included in this are my own. No one is twisting my arm to write this review. It's just, I want to make sure that you understand that this is how I feel personally. And so as a result, my experience might differ from yours. We're different people. That's cool. So, Beautiful Broken Girls is a very dark, psychological, thriller, mystery-esque story that opens on the discovery of these two girls entangled at the bottom of a local quarry pond. These girls are sisters. They are part of a very prominent family within that town, within that community, and as a result, there's a lot of mystery that surrounds their death. The main character, Ben, then follows these notes that are left behind by one of the sisters to try and unravel the mystery of how they ended up where they did. The story is told through the alternating perspectives of Ben, the main character, who is in the present trying to unravel this mystery by following these notes that Mira left behind. Mira is one of the girls who has died. She and her sister make up the other two alternating perspectives, that is Mira and Francesca. We get to relive through their eyes the events that occurred leading up to them falling off that cliff and ending up at the bottom of that quarry. Overall, it is a deep, dark, twisting, kind of gut-wrenching story that makes you question the sanity of the characters. It makes you wonder at how this could have happened, and really at the bottom of it, like, how could this have happened? But I'm getting ahead of myself. I would not recommend this to everyone, and here's why. It is very, 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 very dark. I will also say that there are some trigger warnings that come with this, such as suicide, thoughts of suicide, child abuse, and to an extent anorexia. There are some very weird places that this book goes, and they're not all unpleasant. As a reader, I'm not new to Kim Savage's writing style. I read Kim Savage's debut novel, After the Woods, and was massively impressed. I loved it. It was, I like to describe it as a YA Gone Girl, where it has that dark sort of psychological aspect where the main character is dealing with mental health issues herself and is sort of overcoming some stuff that happened to her in the past. It was a great story. It had a great balance to it. I don't know that I can say that I love Beautiful Broken Girls as much as I loved After the Woods. And it's really heartbreaking because I wanted to love this story so much. But this one just, I don't feel is on the same level. There are some things that this book does so well. It creates this fantastic, deep, dark, disturbing tone. If you like that psychological thriller, that sort of disturbed sort of perspective that a book can take when it goes down those paths, then this might be the book for you. Kim Savage has a way like no other of creating this dark atmosphere in her books. She has a way of creating characters that are twisted in the mind, that have these really weird ways of thinking, that are very just I keep saying the word dark, but I'm going to keep saying it because that is just how I felt while I read this book. She has a way of making you feel their suffering, of making you feel and watch. And in some ways, it's a bit uncomfortable. Their trip down towards insanity. She lets us see how Ben is driven to a place that is much less sane than he starts out. We see his mind sort of unraveling as he's walking down this path, as he's kind of being forced to relive some of his own traumatizing moments, as he's figuring out what may have been traumatizing moments for these girls. I mean, honestly, if someone that I knew died and had sent me notes saying, hey, go find my story, but I'm not just going to write you one letter. No, I'm going to make you revisit and remember all of our most important moments. I would say that I would be really, really pissed off because, come on, that's pretty cruel. That's pretty cruel. When someone dies, you don't want to be like yanked on a chain following them. But that's where this story goes, which makes it kind of reminiscent, I believe, of 13 Reasons Why, but I don't think it's that same, well, I don't know. I've never read 13 Reasons Why. I've never watched the show, so I don't know exactly how closely they are related. There were parts of this story that I couldn't get around. I was intrigued, I wanted to know what had happened, but I didn't love the way it was going. And that being said, I don't think you're meant to love the way it was going. It does not in any way, shape, or form make you think that suicide that suicide is a good thing. It does not glorify it, which I do think is pretty amazing. You don't feel like what they did was the right choice, and in that, I think lays part of why it was so disturbing for me. I did not want to see the heartbreaking things that led them to make that decision, and as it became more clear that it was coming, I began to feel less and less inclined to want to keep reading. I would recommend this book to individuals who have that flair for the dark side, who like to delve into the depths of psychological dysfunction, who like to see how all of that plays out. I do believe it's not explicitly stated, but it is sort of brought up once in a minor kind of thought passing situation that one of the characters may be schizophrenic, and it does deal with some things like religious fanaticism and PTSD that does give you a really cool insight to people whose brains thoughts and structures may not be the same as everybody else's, and that can be really interesting. Just for me, it wasn't pleasant. Now, that being said, with that dark tone of book, with me not necessarily loving it, that really wasn't what made the book feel lesser to me than I feel like it should have. That was actually something that triggered a pet peeve of mine. In the book, I found that there was an issue with some of the clarity of the text. And this happened in two different places. The first one could have been me just misunderstanding the story as it was evolving. I felt like it was confusing. I couldn't tell where in the story you were. It felt like you were in one place as well as in another place. It didn't make sense to be in the one place, so then it had to have been the other place, but there were details in this one that made it feel like it was that one, and do you see how it can be confusing? So it was confusing, and I didn't really like that. But then there was later on in the story where in a conversation Ben is having with another character, the other character explicitly says that I haven't seen you since an event that had happened before. However, that was wrong. He had seen him before. He'd seen him much more recently than that. The scene that Kevin was talking about had happened 2 scenes before that they'd interacted, not one. And it chafed because it was just an editing issue and it made a plot hole and I didn't like it. And I don't like it when books are put out into the world and they aren't fully finished and stuff. Now, I considered, hey, maybe this is because I got a galley review, and those, as many know, but maybe you don't, are not fully edited. So I took that into consideration, and I borrowed the book from the library, and it was in the library edition too. So that was a pet peeve of mine. The editing, I could have seen that being done better. But maybe that's just me being picky. Maybe other people won't have that issue. But, you know, even without that, I can't say that I liked the book. I can't say that I truly enjoyed it. I can say that I respected that dark tone, but that it went a place that I wasn't really prepared for it to go. Do I regret reading it? Of course not. There are a lot of questions that it brought up that really made me think. And I think that I will be bringing them up in a discussion that is inspired by this, because I truly am curious about what other people have to say about these kinds of things. But as far as this book goes, I would not say it's a bad book. I just would say it's a book that I didn't enjoy very much. I gave it a very reluctant 2 stars on Goodreads. It was a book that I would say is okay. And again, that is my personal review. I would love to hear what you thought about it if you read this book. Please tell me if you know of what I'm talking about, but do try and keep those spoilers out of the description. If you got a completely different feel from this book, I would also like to hear from you as well, because, well, I mean, I'd like to hear from anyone on what they think and their thoughts, but I really want to hear what your perspective is on this story if you have read it, and get to see how other people may have interpreted this story. So if you liked this review, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe, because I've got 24 more left to go. And for my C book, I'm going to be, C book, I'm going to be reviewing Caraval by Stephanie Garber. So please tune in. Thanks again to NetGalley for providing me with this free copy. I'm gonna say goodbye, so long, farewell, and adieu.